Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I'm not going to cheat on her, but I want her to know that,
she better show up.
She better respect.
You are a snack.
Thank you.
Fonzie, don't you think he's a snack?
Absolutely gorgeous.
For 40. Come on.
You're 40 years old?
Next 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Then you're a snackalicious.
Thank you.
You're Dunkaroos, baby.
I appreciate it. I've only had light cosmetic surgery, so.
You can't even tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, you look great.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. I'm not hitting on you, but I just want you to...
I really appreciate that. Thank
no
you very
problem.
much.
I don't want Rose to come and kill me.
She's tiny. Don't worry about it. She is angry, though. So.
Yeah, no, she makes me nervous.
Yeah. Mixed bag. I'm scared of her. For sure, I'm scared of her. Oh, yeah.
Well, you know too much.
Sometimes I'll be like, I'll just pick, don't do that. And she'll be like, you really want to do this right now? And I'm like, fuck.
That's pretty much a lady's move. Like I do that with Steve. I was like, oh, we're going to go? And he's like,
Yeah. Fuck. I don't want, she'll go deeper, Yeah. She's also the child of like a lot of lawyers.
Oh, yeah.
She grew up in a political family and she will gaslight the fuck out of me. She will fucking throw around some like, well, what I was trying to do. And then I'm like, whoa. I don't even want to do this. I wonder if anybody in court's ever just been like, you know what? This is annoying. Like, I don't want to. I'm not trying to beat you, okay? I'm tired.
Andy Haynes, everybody.
Hi.
Everybody keep it going.
I am in a happy marriage. I'm very contented, and I love my wife.
Yes. Well, no one would ever argue that.
Yeah, please don't. Please don't argue.
Oh, boy.
No, I am very lucky.
Yeah. And you look great for 40. You're on top of the world.
Yeah, I played soccer this weekend, and I think that I got a little sun kiss.
Yeah?
And that's been helping.
Yeah, it looks great. You got a little glow.
You got to be careful, sun damage. You got to be really careful with it.
You're right.
Because it's bad for your skin. Mm-hmm. I love a deep tan, but you got to keep that SPF routine up.
Yeah. Do you moisturize at night?
I don't at night. I just moisturize every time that I wash my face.
Okay.
And then I try to put on SPF. Mm-hmm. Like if I know I'm going to be in the sun.
It really helps when they have the Kiehl's men's line.
That's what I have.
Yeah. If you get the nighttime, just put it on. Oh, you're going to glow.
And both my parents have had skin cancer.
Oh.
So
well, it just
I have
got
to
dark.
be. No. They're both alive.
That's great.
Survived it, unfortunately. And no, just because I want their property. And
an honest man.
Yeah. I actually have had this like ongoing thing in my head where I'm like, if my mom leaves my house to me and my sister's going to want to move in and she's not going to be able to pay out her half. It's like such a dark thought.
It's just an episode of The Sopranos.
What the fuck, Dev?
How old are your parents?
Mom just turned 75.
Okay.
Forgot her birthday. Really felt bad about that.
Son.
I think I've done it twice in my life, but I was like, I was in England and I was like living my best life. Mm-hmm. And then my dad is 77.
Okay. So she's got another 10, 20 years to build up that.
She will
to
not
pay you out.
My mom will not, she is a heavier woman and she's got like some ailments of joints and things like that. Just had a total knee back in last fall and I took care of her. But she won't get old. My dad, he started hanging with old people. He's old now.
Yeah.
My mom is, she's trying to watch TikTok. She's, she's terrified of streaming, changing her TV to the streaming, the Fire Stick. If I turn it to the Fire Stick, she's like, can you put it back on the news?
Oh, no. The news is the worst thing you can watch.
I know. I caught her when I was home. I caught her watching, what is that? Rizzoli and...
Oh, yes. Rizzoli and Isles.
Yeah. And I was like... Mom, are you watching Rizzoli and Isles? And she's like, it's a good show.
I mean, I've seen it. It is trash. It is very bad. Poorly acted, even though I love women.
Yeah.
Love women.
Love them.
Very bad sitcom.
Well, my mom's a fan.
Okay.
She would take chagrin to that.
Okay. You know what? You like what you like. I used to love Castle.
I love Castle. Nathan Fillion, dude, perfect man.
It was so good.
Deserves so much better.
Yes, it did.
Give him Chris Pratt's roles.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, Chris Pratt. Oh boy, what a psychopath.
I know. It's such a bummer that he's a Seahawks fan.
Oh, you're a Seahawks fan. Are you from Seattle?
I am.
Oh, okay.
I'm from the city, the middle of it.
Ooh,
yeah.
That's exciting. That's hardcore.
It's not. It's very affluent. And Seattle has 7 hills, and each hill is a different neighborhood. I swear to God.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, there's more, but some of them aren't hills.
Oh,
the hills
I see.
kind of have, the dominance as far as like wealth.
What
views.
What hill are you
Queen
from?
Anne.
Oh,
Queen Anne Hill. Yeah.
I didn't realize that we were with royalty.
Mm-hmm.
This is very fancy.
Very Victorian kind of influences up in the Northwest, Pacific Northwest. Yeah.
Did your parents have money growing up?
No, my dad had some money. My dad worked in the insurance business. He was like an executive at an insurance company, which I don't think meant much. He made good money though. But my mom was a nurse my whole life, and my parents split when I was 5. My dad was in my life, but we were upper middle class, but like everybody around us. So the top of the hill, no view, right?
Yeah.
Because it's a flat, like it's like a plateau basically. So no view. You don't get housing prices aren't as high. The ring, like all around the edge, like J-Lo had a house there. You know what I mean? Like people that had started Microsoft had houses there.
Wow.
And,
okay.
So my neighbors were extremely wealthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you felt not as wealthy comparatively.
I didn't really think about it actually, because it was like I still had nice stuff, and it wasn't like I was like, parents weren't like, keep Andy away, he's dirty, you know. I still lived in the nice part of town.
It's just a tan. It's a deep tan.
Yeah, it's just dirt. It washes off. I did get asked to like not hang out with friends because I would like argue about like theology with their parents when I was like 12, and they'd be like, "You gotta
theology."
Yeah,
you
like
a religious boy.
Yeah, but no, I wasn't religious. I mean, I was always kind of spiritual. But my uncle and my sister were gay. They were out gay when I was like, I don't know, in middle school. And then like I would go places and people would kind of say things that were, classical Christian thoughts on homosexuality. Yeah. And I'd be like, well, that's not true.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, what? And I'd be like, here's why.
Yeah.
What logic does this make? And they'd be like, you're ruining dinner. And, but,
I love that for you. You little gay crusader.
Yeah. I was. I've never really like publicly talked about this, but when I was like in 8th grade, I put on a skirt as like a joke.
Yeah.
Like I just put on this girl's skirt. It was like one of those hippie skirts that's just like a tapestry.
Yes.
Like very light. It wasn't like I had to take my pants off. But the administrator saw me in the skirt and was like, you have to take that off. And I was like, no, I don't. And she was like, you have to take that off or you're suspended. And I was like, I'm not fucking taking it off. So they suspended me. And then there was like a gay rights activist like rally and it was called Skirt Fest. And all these men wore skirts. I was in 8th grade and like hundreds of men showed up at my middle school. And all these people were like, what's it like to be a gay kid? And I was like, I'm not gay. And they were like, oh, what? But you like wearing skirts? And I was like, I thought it was funny. And they were like, wrong guy. Probably shouldn't rally around this guy. But I got hate mail. I remember that.
Really?
Yeah, I got people that would send me like gay porn and stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
But I was like a little skateboarder, graffiti kid. I didn't give a shit. I was like, cool. Now I've got gay porn.
Did they take back the suspension?
No.
It's on your permanent record.
It's so weird when you like think about how much has changed in just our lives. But like, when I was like, I don't know, between 10 and 15 years old, it was like still like people were like debating whether it was like, should we let gay people inside grocery stores? And you're like, that was only like 25 years ago.
Yeah, it's wild.
But now everything's good and all the rights are secured.
Yeah, everything's fine.
We're on the right track.
Yes, progress.
Yeah.
And the opposite. We're fine. Anyway, this is a cheerful podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Keep it up.
Did you start drinking in middle school?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
What was the first time you ever drank?
I think it was probably just like out of the like parents' glass or something like that. But they had a liquor cabinet. I think I was very interested in it. I think I remember trying like Grand Marnier. I don't know how to say it.
Grand Marnier.
Yeah. I think remember having that in some kind of like eggnog or something like that. Like they were like, have a nip or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think as soon as I kind of got a taste for it, I don't even think I really realized how it made me feel. I think I just liked being bad. I loved doing bad stuff. I remember going to a church camp when I was in 7th grade with my friend Chris Holloway, and we drank Franzia like out of the box, and we like leaned into the fridge upside down and like hit the nozzle into our mouths and
just drinking the blood of Christ, huh?
Exactly. And I think I made out with a girl listening to Hole, the Courtney Love band. That's how old I am. It was like current. It was a contemporary album at that time.
I just love that sentence.
Yeah.
I made out with a girl listening to Hole.
Yeah. Gross.
It is a gross name now that I think about it.
Also, just like I'm picturing it like any kind of like making out when you're like 12 is gross.
It's all teeth. It's
dry humping and ugh.
Thank God you're thinking back on that and it doesn't get you excited because would be
what a blessing.
Put them on a list.
I think Mark Norman has a good joke about that, about how lucky we are not to be pedophiles because those guys can't help it. And we should give them a break.
Those are the views of Andy Haynes, not the views of Good Time Gal.
No, but and then I think I just like started drinking more and more often. I smoked pot around the same time. My mom let me go to a Grateful Dead concert with my friend's deadbeat dad.
Wow.
And we got into the concert and the dad was just gone and it was just me and my other 12-year-old friend.
Oh, God.
And we just walked around and we're like, hey, can we have some pot? And people were like, I guess. Like, what? And then smoked pot and then told my mom, and she took my pot and put it in a dirty diaper because we had foster kids.
Oh.
So she was like, here, if you want your pot, it's covered in shit. But later on, I think I found out that she gave it to one of her friends.
Well, at least you didn't find out because you dug through the shit to get your pot.
No, I was never that desperate. I mean, I'm sure I did something that desperate later, in my 20s or something like that.
Foster kids, really?
Yeah. When I around that same time, my mom, we were friends with the attorney general of the state, like family friends.
Whoa.
And she went out and like made personal appeals to families like, hey, do you think you have room for a foster kid? And my mom is like all about taking care of people and then demanding, it's like, what do you call it? Like emotional hostage taking kind of stuff. Like, oh, I took care of you. Now you have to love me and do chores and stuff. So she was right. And she was like, this is great. We have all these captives. And so, yeah, we had like, I don't know, 10 or 15 children over the course of like 10 years or something like that.
Wow.
But the last one, Liza, she went back to her mom, and then her mom had some trouble, and so she came back and lived with us, like not like we adopted her, but like she was like just allowed to live with us because her mom couldn't really make ends meet. And then her mom got into some legal trouble, and we just got Liza. And so Liza has been my sister. I mean, my whole life, really, but she's been my adopted sister since I was in my mid-20s, and now very much a part of the family.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's a happy ending.
She's got a master's degree and a baby, and she works at Amazon.
Wow.
She's doing great.
She's
not
thriving.
bad. Not bad for a girl that lived in a car.
Yeah.
Pretty good. I'm proud of you, Liz.
Pretty good. Now she's living on the side of the mountain instead of up where there's no view.
Not quite.
Okay.
Seattle's housing prices. Crazy.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, you'll get there, Liza. You'll get there.
I don't think she cares. That's the coolest thing about her.
That's
She's
good.
just like, she's just happy with a Costco run and, a nice Hulu stream. Whatever,
I mean, that's great. That sounds lovely.
She's a normal person. She's like the type of person that posts like a image that's like words, that's like God, give me the strength to make it through today. And it's like, what are you doing? What's going on? Oh, just a hard day of work. And I'm like, that's insane. I thought you had cancer. What are you talking about?
She's very present.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah, but no cringe. Like there's absolutely no cringe in her life. And I love that for her. My dad's the same way.
Yeah.
Not quite that, but like my dad has no cringe. Mm-hmm. My dad's favorite restaurant is like a chain restaurant down the street from his cul-de-sac. Mm-hmm. Loves it. I'm like, we got to have the restaurant that got written up in the New York Times.
Yeah.
And my dad's like, what's close? You know?
I love this Applebee's.
Yeah. My dad loves primetime television. He loves...
Really?
Yeah, just primetime television, golf, you know, a good all-inclusive resort. I'm trying to be fucking Hunter S. Thompson out here. Get dirty in the streets. He's happy as a clam, and my whole life I've been tortured, and he's just so joyful.
Did the torturing continue in high school?
Yeah, I mean, that was like when my drinking really took off. I think I was always depressed and always kind of insecure, like uncomfortable, but also, you know, I was semi-popular and knew how to like navigate a social kind of hierarchy.
Yeah. And
just always gravitated towards the kids that I thought were cool and then would just kind of assimilate, you know?
Yeah.
Not very interesting. It wasn't like I was like, I was just a preppy drinker in high school. But it was like, I didn't even know I had like when I was like 15, I got really drunk with some upperclassmen. Like I was like 110 pounds. I drank like a whole Old English 40 on an empty stomach. And I like woke up at home and I was like, what? Because I'd been drinking in a park.
Yeah.
And my mom was like, you got brought home by an ambulance last night. And I'd like... So I could, because we're telling drinking stories. So I'd like, were like, you got to pound these 40s type of thing. And I guess I'd gotten blacked out, and kids being kids, they were like, we can't deal with this. Like, you know, like what are we supposed to do? So they let me go into the wild, and I like just pissed my pants.
Oh no.
Threw up everywhere, got hit by a car, but not like in a...
Jesus.
Speed. I think I basically jumped on the hood of a car, but then eventually I made it into like a movie theater, and I just passed out in the lobby and like in the middle of like where concessions are sold.
So sticky.
And then I peed my pants, and that's when the ambulance came. But that was like 15. And for some reason, I was like, that's a one-off. Like, that's not going to happen again. Mm-hmm. Boys will be boys.
Was your mom mad?
Yeah, but my mom was like with the dirty diaper thing. It was like, she never was like, you can't smoke pot. She was just like, you shouldn't smoke pot, but I'm also not going to punish. Like, there's no recourse. And so, you know, she gave me like a stern kind of day of glares, but then, you know, she knew I still drank and stuff, and I was reckless. I mean, like, I was a big skier, so we would go up to the resort a lot, and we had friends with like cabins or condos or something like at the ski resort. So we would, you know, be up there like midweek too, because I had set my school schedule up so that I could like one day go in or one day leave early and the next day go in late. So I'd like ski midweek and ski every weekend. And there was like no parents around. You just get drunk in like somebody's condo, and we'd go out and drive. Like we'd take a car into the parking lots at the ski resort, and you'd just go like 50 miles an hour and just pull the e-brake, and the car would just slide across the parking lot. You'd do stuff like surf on the top of it while they were driving.
No.
Like, oh yeah, just totally. Should be dead so many times. So many times I should be dead. Drank in cars, like, and slept in them. Just, it was just like a gross waste of youth.
Yeah.
like there was fun times, but there was also just a lot of like, you know, like when parents are like, you shouldn't hang out with that person because they're a loser. I didn't heed any of that. And I spent like, you know, multiple segments of my youth hanging out with people where it's like, why did I ever fucking hang out with that guy? I could have been learning a skill. What the fuck was I
think
thinking?
riding on top of a car is pretty skillful.
Yeah, but it's not like I fucking doing it. You know, it'd be cool if I was like Casey Neistat now and I had like a YouTube channel where I did cool, you know.
Where do you think you got the idea? Huh?
Probably me.
Yeah.
I just gotta, you know, like monetize. I do think I'm probably the best skier who also does comedy. I'd bargain to say that. That was a big part of my life.
That's great.
I have a feeling that there's like maybe some competition with like a Francis Ellis. I assume he's a good skier.
He's probably surfing.
I bet he does both. I think he's from Maine.
Oh, he's
cold up there.
He skis.
But, you know.
Damn it. I was rooting for you.
I still think I could take him.
Yeah, probably.
Just because I'm, you know.
You're a snack.
Yeah, exactly.
So you do high school.
Yeah.
Not going great with the drinking, or was it going great?
It was fine.
It was fine?
think, I mean, I had a lot of messy nights, but it was like I hung out with those kind of kids that were like all ambitious, but we drank a lot.
Yeah.
You know, just the cool kids.
Yeah. So you went to college?
Yeah, but I first went to Tahoe to ski.
Oh.
So I did 2 years in Tahoe where I went to school at night and skied during the day.
That's very fun.
Yeah. It was fun to ski. But I didn't realize like the difference in like I thought it was going to be what's that movie Aspen Extreme, and then I got down there. Nobody wanted to rent us a place. Like 4 18-year-olds, they were like, no, not at all. Mm-hmm. And then so we lived in this motel for like a month, and that was just like literally like, you know, like we'd befriended like quasi meth heads, and you know. The kind of people that are like such hippies that they're dangerous. Do you know what I mean? These kind of people, like the kind of people that go to like festivals and things like that. They're like grifters. They're like con men. Like I've never been around more sketchy people, I don't think. Mm-hmm. And they were like stoners, but then occasionally you'd be like, he's not just doing weed.
Yeah.
Like there's something worse going on. Mm-hmm. But eventually started, you know, found a place. Was kind of like had a job and things like that, but the thing was that everybody else in Lake Tahoe was 25 and older. They'd gone to college and then they'd gone there to do a couple years after.
Yeah,
and I didn't have a fake ID, so I was 18. I like everybody else is going to bars. I lived in literally the middle of the woods, like 10 miles from civilization.
Yeah,
in the middle of snow, and so we would just like. Get drunk, occasionally go to a house party and stuff, but that's like where I started to like black out bad. Like where I like people would be like, you got really drunk and you like tried to kiss this girl whose boyfriend was sitting next to her and he punched you and then you left and we couldn't find you for a while and then you were just in a snowbank. I remember 2 of my worst nights of like things happening while drinking was one, I don't really remember the night. Remember going to the party, remember having a good time, and then I woke up in the bathroom face down on the floor, but like in water. Like there was water all over the floor, and when I looked up, the toilet was smashed. Like the bowl of the toilet was just cracked in half, and I was like, this is definitely not good. This is like a bad like. How did I get here? What's going on? And then I just was like but I hadn't seen anything because the door was shut. So I got up and I walked out and everybody in the house was like, this fucking piece of shit. So I just went outside and I think I was in a short sleeve shirt and it was snowing. It was the middle of winter. And this dad just picked me up. He was like, dude, I've been there. Like, and his kid was in the car and he was just like, you don't need to apologize. I've been this guy before. I'll take you home, you know, like, because I probably would have fucking frozen to death.
Yeah.
And then another time I went to a house party and.
Wait, hold the phone. Did you break the toilet?
I don't know to this day. I still don't know. But nobody ever came after me for expenses.
Okay, so then it might have been already broken.
Let's hope. Let's hope so. So I've had enough time now that I've come to peace with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a couple where I'm like, I hope nothing got taped that night. You know.
Okay.
Like the other time, so I was at a house party and earlier in the night, I had been at a bar, which was rare for me because I wasn't of age. But I got into this bar, and I'd gone to all very integrated, like diverse schools in high school and stuff like that. I'd had a very diverse upbringing. The school that I went to high school at was like in the kind of hood of Seattle, but they bust a bunch of kids in for this like kind of accelerated, like the higher learning kind of programs.
Oh, like AP or IB?
Yeah, those kind of things. So it was a great school. It was really cool. And then I went to Tahoe, and there was like literally no diversity. This does not excuse what I did next, which was I saw a black guy in the bar, and I went up to him wasted, and I was like, it's so nice to see a black person. And he was like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I was like, I'm just saying, there's nobody here. And he was like, go away, like, don't. Sorry. I'm not defending this. It's what happened. And I'm not like, obviously would not do that now. Not proud of it. But anyways, went to a house party after that, and I heard somebody say the N-word. And I was like, because I'd just seen this black guy, I was like, my friend, you are not allowed to say that. And so I tried to fight the person, and I got thrown out of the house party. And it was like the middle of the mountains, 6 feet of snow. And I'm blackout drunk, and I'm walking down this hill, but I'm miles from civilization. And there's not like traffic coming up and down this road. So I just start banging on doors because I'm like afraid I'm going to die, or I don't even know what I thought. But I was just banging on doors because I wanted to get back inside. And then I got into a house, and I like walked upstairs. And then I walked right off the house because it was a construction site. It was not a house. And I walked I fell like from the 3rd floor just into a puff of snow. It was like a Mr. Magoo moment. And I was like, wow, that was exciting, Whoa. Just right off.
How lucky are you?
So lucky. There's more stories like this that I should have died. But then I got up to the road. Because I wanted to lay down. I wanted to go to sleep in that moment because I was like in a puff of snow. But I don't know what. I got up, and then it's completely blacked out. If I would have fallen asleep, I probably would have froze to death. And I got to the road, and at the road was cops because I'd been banging on a bunch of people's doors. And I saw the cops, and I just got on my hands and knees. I got on my knees, and I put my hands behind my head like this, and they arrested me. And then I remember it was like a big, because it's the mountains, so they don't just have like cop cars, they have like expeditions.
Oh, yeah.
And I did the whole like take your hands under your ass. I was handcuffed and put them under my ass, under my feet. And then I was like, fuck you. And they're like, we saved your fucking life, you little asshole. And then when I woke up in the morning, I woke up in the Truckee County Jail, which was 25 miles from my house.
Oh.
And I was in the jail with the black guy from the bar.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Yeah. He had just been black in a small town in, the mountains. And that's why he was in jail. And I was in jail for just going to the limits of my privilege. Just seeing just how far I could go.
How far?
But
that's incredible.
Speaking of almost death, the one time that I almost really died and it was the first time that I really, all this stuff had happened after this, but this was the first time that I knew that I really had a problem, which was I was at my high school sweetheart had a friend who had a cabin, and we were up at the cabin, and it was like pretty late. It was like around Christmas, so everybody was home, and I brought like a 5th of Absolute vodka, and I was like, let's drink, and everybody was like, maybe, and then I just drank like most of the 5th by myself, and then everybody was like, okay, we'll drink, and I was like, I'll go get it, and I got in the car, my mom's minivan, and then the next thing I knew, I was on the highway going like 70 miles an hour in the snow, and I saw the exit, and I don't even really remember this, but I went, and the car just went, like just flipped into a patch of trees, no seatbelt on. My friend Crystal was in the car. She had a seatbelt on. We came to a stop. Everybody was fine.
Wow.
Everybody was A-okay except we were upside down. And then I just climbed out of the car, helped Crystal out of the car, jumped back in the car to get my cigarettes, hugged Crystal, said I was so glad she was alive, and then hitchhiked to the store to buy the alcohol that I had said I was going to get for everybody.
Oh my God.
Where I got arrested in the store because I was very drunk and I was trying to speak to everybody in Spanish. And the cops were like, hey, did you happen to leave a teal minivan down the road? And I was like, yeah, totally. And it's so dumb. I always like think about this. Like if I had any kind of foresight, I would have been like, no. And I would have never gotten a DUI. But they were like, were you driving this? And I was like, yes. And I am so lucky to be alive. And they were like, yeah, get in the car.
We got him, or he got him.
Yeah, I got me.
Yeah.
I've nabbed myself. But then I remember being at the jail that night and just like, because I was like in a great mood. I was like, can you believe I survived that fucking accident? They didn't like put me in a cell. They just let me like sit on a chair until my dad paid bail. And I remember like it was kind of near a college town. And so all these kids got brought in that had been drinking at college parties and they were like crying. And I was just cracking jokes on them, like from the like bench in the main room. I was like, you're wearing flip-flops. It's winter, dummy. But when they let me out, it was fucked up. When they let me out, I was just like 30 miles from where I needed to go. And I was like, what am I supposed to do? And they're like, I don't know. So anyways, that was my big kind of wake up call. It did not stop me from drinking because at that time in my life, I had no idea how to live without, like I didn't know how to socialize, get laid, be fun, be funny. And I would go to AA, over the next couple of years, I would go to AA meetings like once in a while just so that it looked good for the upcoming court case that I had.
Oh.
And so those things I told you about earlier where I got arrested, that broke my parole or my probation or whatever it was.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So then I would have to like figure out how to beat that case to not get into not to have to deal with the because I was on like this year probation. So if I got caught and it got back to Washington, I'd have to go to jail.
Oh.
And eventually all that stuff expired. But I think I quit drinking around like age 22, but I didn't quit. I just quit like at that instance for like a year or two. I'd quit and I'd gotten arrested in my college town. I'd been at a party and the cops showed up and I was really excited about this party. I really thought that there was something about the way I drank where it was like, tonight is the night, you know? Like tonight is like, somebody has a joke about like the music that they play in Vegas, and it's always like, tonight is the only night. And that was like how every night of partying was for me. It was like, we have to just go so big. Like we this has to be the night. And anyways, I'd been in this college party and the cops had showed up, and in my college town, they would break up a party. They would surround the party and then they would file everybody out of the party. And if you were under 21, you had to get on this bus and take a breathalyzer. And then if you were drunk, you got a minor in possession. And one time they did get me. I was hiding in an attic, but an attic. I was also hiding in an attic. But
a Freudian slip.
Yeah. I was old enough, but I went out and I tried to stop the cops from breaking up the party.
Oh, Jesus.
This was my last arrest, yeah.
Yeah.
I tried to stop the cops from breaking up the party. I went out and I was like, you guys, it's too good. You can't do it. And they were like, go away. And I was like, no, I can't. Like it's so much fun. You got to go away. And they were like, you're under arrest. And so after that, I think I quit for the first time. And then I still smoked pot, but didn't drink for like I think I didn't drink for like a year. And then I very slowly started getting in. I totally knew I was an alcoholic at this point. That had been my sixth arrest. And I just knew that I was never certain where it was going to go.
Yeah.
So I slowly started drinking again, and I think I probably had like 5 years where like I would take a sip of somebody's beer, or I'd ask somebody if I could split their beer, or I'd have a night where I went big, but I'd tell people like, hey, like I'm unpredictable, like I need help. And then, a couple nights in there I'd black out and I'd do something super regrettable, but it was never to the level that it had been. It was never Mr. Magoo again.
Falling off the fucking house.
Yeah, it was never like that.
So you got more responsible in your later
kind of, but
20s.
Then I think I had my last drink around like 2010, and I smoked pot for like another 4 years, and then I got completely sober because I was doing the best I'd ever done in my career and financially, and I was just objectively depressed and just smoking pot from the second I woke up to the second I went to bed. So that's when I got into the program and got completely sober.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a journey.
I got more drinking stories though. I know.
Yeah?
I know we haven't made time, have we?
No.
Okay.
We're doing great. What would you like to tell us? This is probably the easiest interview I've ever done because your stories are great and you literally just.
I remember one New Year's Eve, I had gone back up to my college town. I'd graduated, but a lot of people stayed there.
Where did you go to college?
Western Washington University in Bellingham, Washington.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And it was the kind of school where people went there. It was a good school, but it was a state school. They really went there because there was a lot of outdoor, like kayaking, mountain biking. Mount Baker was right there, which is like the world record for snowfall.
Okay.
Like people move from around the world to ski at Mount Baker. It was the kind of, it was just the kind of place where people like stayed because it was a nice town.
Yeah.
And then, so you'd go up and, party at somebody's house who was still there. But we went to this place called Boundary Bay Brewery. And it was like, I can't believe this was ever like part of my life. I think it was like some kind of like bluegrass band or, like very white, like, banjos and fiddles were involved. And I remember dancing, and I remember at one point like being really proud of myself because there was a woman on the dance floor in a wheelchair, and I was like, I'm gonna dance with this lady, and I was like, look at me, I'm like a hero, What a great guy to dance with this lady. She was probably like, great.
Yeah, she's like, I have 2 master's degrees.
Yeah, I didn't want you to dance with me. I'm married, probably. Yeah. And then I woke up, and I was in this girl's bed, and we were like making out and stuff. But I remember like it was almost like a hallucination. Like I in my mind I was like I'm like the coolest guy in the world. I went home with a lady. Like somehow I thought I was like Gosling or something like that. I was just like, this is amazing. And then I like got dressed, and I don't think I had sex. I don't think we had sex. And then I was like, all right, I gotta go. I had nowhere to be. But I was like, I gotta go. The night's still young. It was like 5 a.m. And I went outside, and then I realized like I had no idea where I was. It was freezing fucking cold. And I was like, I gotta go back inside. But I was still so drunk that I didn't remember what her house, like I left, and then I was like, where was I kind of thing, like in this house. And she'd given me her phone number, and I called it, and it was her landline at her family's house.
Oh no.
So I just called her dad at like 4 a.m, 5 a.m. on New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
And he was like, hello? And I was like, hi, is what's her name there? I don't remember her name anymore. And Megan, maybe. And he was like, no, she's not. Is she okay? And I was like, yeah, she's great. And just fingered her.
She's the happiest she's ever been in her goddamn life. I'll tell you that.
Great goddamn night. You got a great daughter, sir.
Real moist.
But then I think what was I just remembered another night. Oh, this is one of my greatest nights. This is actually one of my top 10 Mr. Magoo moments. is I dated a woman who was an absolute train wreck. It was perfect. We were like blackout Bonnie and Clyde. Like we just at a party, like where nobody's dancing, making out and grinding. Just like in the middle of a party, just fucking disaster couple. She lived in this house that was like the party house. People are always there partying. And I was at a party at her house, and she had like a porch on the back of her house, and her bedroom window was against the porch, so you could open the window and go into her room.
Yeah.
And so she like would lock the door when she had parties, and then you would go in the window if you wanted to go into her room. And I think I had been in her room, but I was like still drinking. And so I like went out, and I remember vividly filling a solo cup, red solo cup with vodka, just complete the top of the, and I didn't really do that kind of thing, but for some reason I was like, this is a great idea right now. And I think I drank it all. I must have, because I don't remember anything after that. And then the next thing I knew, I think I went in the backyard to piss. And then the next thing I knew, I woke up and I was like in a suburban home on the couch with my wallet on my chest. And I was like, I like looked around and I was like, hello? No answer. And I was like, looking, there was like pictures of people. Like it was like an old people's house. Like I have no idea. No idea to this day what went down to get me in that house. This is what I mean. Like for a long time I was like, eventually a video is going to come out where I'm eating poop. Like that's like where two elderly people are shitting in my mouth and I'm like, just like loving it. And or I murdered them. It's one or the other. They either jacked off on my face or I murdered them, or maybe both. I don't know. But I was so terrified, and I just got my shit and I stopped trying to see if anybody's home, because I was like, what if I don't want to see whoever this is. So I went outside, and then I just kind of knew where I was, and I walked home. And then my dad called me a couple hours later. I'd lost my cell phone that night. And my dad called me and he goes, hey, the cops called me and they said they just found your phone. And I was like, oh, I must have dropped it. Okay, cool. So I call the cops and I'm like, hey, I think you guys have my phone. And they were like, yeah, it's being held as evidence in a burglary case. And I was like, what? Excuse me? I didn't wake up with any extra things, so that would be impossible. And they were like, yep. And so I was like, I think I have a general idea of what happened, so I'll come down there and just like we can deal with it. And so I guess what had happened is after I'd gone to take that pee in the backyard, I'd gotten lost and I thought I was at my girlfriend's house, and I'd walked up to another house and I'd opened the back window on the porch thinking it was my girlfriend's, and I'd started climbing in, and the people were like, what the fuck? And I dropped my phone and ran away. And then somehow in there ended up in this elderly people's house. I have no idea. No idea what happened there, but that was a dark day.
Did they press charges?
No, I actually I think I got okay from their judges to like give them a call, and be like, hey, I'm having a drinking problem. I've made some big mistakes, and it's so funny because I didn't quit drinking at this point. And then they were like, okay, well, if you pay for this, I think I maybe broke their window. I think I broke their window. So I think they were like, if you pay for the window and you pay for like whatever fee that the court has to do, we won't press charges. But the court still pressed some kind of thing that was like a negligible amount of time for probation. And I was still in my probation from the DUI at this point. This happened all over the course of like 3 years.
That's like amazing.
Yeah.
Like it's mostly just like mind blowing.
Yeah, I remember I just remembered this too, because I have so many of these stories. I was doing a study abroad in Central America.
Jesus.
And I was in this tiny town in Guatemala.
I just got worried for him. I don't know about you, but I just got nervous.
Yeah. It is amazing that I am not in a wheelchair.
It's like, I know you're fine, but
like talking with a like, straw. I have to remember this. Every time I get mad that like SD didn't give me enough spots, I have to be like, oh, you were supposed to be dead like 5 times.
Yeah.
Like, you're good. Like, but I'm in this little town and it's called San Juan de las Montañas or something. It's a tiny, it's like, and it's this school where you take English or Spanish during the day, and then you spend some time with these families, and these families are like in abject poverty, like dirt floor, but you go and you eat their meals with them, and then you go back to the school and you sleep there. They have like dorms, really small, and it's all kind of not for profit. Everybody there is like a community activist, but like most things where people are like, you know, kind of lefties, they like still like to put on some salsa music and get drunk and smoke some grass. And so this drink that they drank in Guatemala was called aguardiente. They drink it all over South and Central America. But it's basically just like grain alcohol. It's like really strong. It's like if you made rum as cheaply as possible, basically.
Okay.
It's just sugar alcohol. And it came in bottles like the size of a flask, a little smaller, like maybe that big.
Okay.
And we had been drinking it and everybody was having a great time. And then we ran out and people were like, we need more. And so my buddy Nick went down and he woke up the guy that ran the little store in town. I mean, there's no streetlights. There's nothing in this town. He like woke the guy up and the guy was like, what? And he was like, I need aguardiente. And he's like, we're closed. And he's like, I'll buy all of the aguardiente. And he was like, all right, deal. So Nick came back with like a bag full of liquor. And I think there was like a girl I'd been vibing with at the school. And I was just, you know, again, tonight is the night.
It's the night.
We have to have the night. And so I drank some more aguardiente. I was already shit-faced. And the next thing I know, I just wake up and I'm just in the jungle. It's morning and I'm in the jungle. And I'm covered in scratches. I'm just like dirty, like the jungle, like Naked and Afraid jungle. And then I like go back up to the school. I kind of know the area I'm in. And people are like, dude. No, dude. There were so many mornings where I woke up and people were like, dude, that was not cool at all what you did.
It's amazing that you still have friends. You know what I mean? Like all these people were your friends.
I know it was like for some reason it took like 9 of those instances for somebody to be like, hey, you shouldn't drink.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it was like, I would always do. I remember I peed on my friend one time. Like I woke up in the middle of the night. Like I was sleeping on the couch. She was sleeping on the floor in a sleeping bag.
No.
And I just stood up and I just pissed all over her. Like just all over her sleeping bag.
Oh my God. And she's like, that's cool. I'll see you tomorrow at work.
She was like, you fucking asshole. But not like, hey, you have a drinking problem. You need to like go see somebody or like get help. Nobody said that until I think it was like around 22 and I was like, I got to stop drinking. This is a nightmare. I keep on waking up. There was that same night that I peed on my friend. Portia Daggett, I love you. You're a great friend and a great mother now. And I'm sorry that I told the world that I peed on you. It wasn't in a sexual way. But I think in that same night, I'd gotten really drunk, and it was kind of around like some people that I wasn't super close with. They were kind of nerdy, a little more like they were there to go to school, you know? And I had been just being outrageous. And this was always my thing was to like, I'm going to push there was a lot of breaking bottles over heads, like my own head, you know, like watch, I'll break a bottle over my head. Everybody will want to have sex with me now.
Look how strong I am.
Yeah, it was peak jackass. I mean, it was like I just I thought it was very cool. I'm ashamed, deeply, deeply ashamed of myself.
It's not your
now.
fault. It's Johnny Knoxville's.
Yeah, I blame the Dick House production company. who I later worked for, oddly. But I was breaking bottles, and people were like, Andy, you got to stop. Like, our friends are not comfortable. And I, in the process, had been breaking bottles. I'd cut my hand pretty deeply, and I was bleeding, and people were like, we got to deal with you. You're bleeding. And I was like, hold on, I have a great idea for a bit. And I took the blood and I wiped it across all over my face. And I went around the party going like this, I have AIDS. I have AIDS. And everybody was like, what the fuck?
I can't. Andy!
It's why, like, I don't think I can be like super emotive now. Like, why I can't like dance for my phone, because I spent that all. I used up all of that, and nobody has time for me. It's like I say a lot of times, like, I got sober at 32. It's like I got sober at 32 because I started drinking at 12. Like, if you start at 12, you got to stop early. You know what I mean? Like, you only get if you start at 21, you can go out the whole time probably.
Yeah.
But 12, you got a 20-year window to really get this all in.
And you did. I think it sounds like you got all of it in.
Yeah, but like so rarely, like so many people, especially like that I hear share in the story, they're like, that was the 4th time that I woke up with a lady that I didn't know. I never woke up with a lady almost. And if I did, it was like a friend that I never had dreamed of sleeping with, you know, or they were mad at me. They were like, you tried. I didn't invite you in here. You tried, and I told you to fuck off, and then you passed out and started farting all night. You know, like something like.
Honestly,
such a nightmare.
Thank God you have such a kind heart, because sometimes when people get out of control, you know, it just turns very dark. And I mean, in a way, yours is very dark, but it's not abusive dark.
I don't think I think I always was like retainable. Like people were like, Andy, it's gone too far. And I think I always, it's to some extent was like, even in blackouts, I was like, you're right. I did punch through that window, and I probably shouldn't have done that. You know, like. Did
you punch through a window?
I punched through my car window one time.
Why? What'd it do?
Well, because I'd been boxing.
Did it say the N-word?
No, I'd been boxing because I was trying to deal with my alcoholism by being a man.
Yes, of course.
So into this boxing gym, and it wasn't like a get in shape boxing gym. It was like a real, like, in the hood boxing gym.
Yeah.
And so I was like, you know, punching lots of things. I was in the habit of punching. And I was 19 years old, and I was dating a 17-year-old that was a senior in high school.
Okay.
Real classy stuff.
You're still in your teens?
Yeah, I'm 19. She's 17. It's not that big of a deal. But a guy had like taken her phone at a party and like called me and left me a voicemail, and it was like, I'm going to hook up with your girlfriend tonight kind of thing. Ugh. And I was like, all right. Well, I happen to be in the habit of punching things, so I'm on my way. But the craziest thing about this was that she lived in a part of Seattle that you have to get to by a ferry.
Oh, okay.
And the ferry had stopped running.
Oh, no.
So I drove like around the peninsula. Like I drove like 2 hours, and I found the party. I don't even know how I found the party because I was drunk driving and there was not like a Waze app. Like I have no idea.
It's your spidey sense.
And I just showed up at this high school house party, a 19-year-old man. And I said, who the fuck did that? And like they all came out and they were like, you got to go, man. And I just was like, I know what I'll do. I'll punch out my own car window.
Was your girl like, oh, my hero?
No, but I think she was definitely like, it was that like, oh, I got to take care of him. Like, you know, that I think it was that classic, like, you don't get him, I got to save him type of thing. She was very sweet, and I should have never dated her. It was a big mistake because I was like a mess, and I don't even think I really was that into her kind of thing. And then I think there was one other story I was going to tell you about. There was the time that I woke up and my eyebrows had been shaved off. And it was my good friends. I'd gotten drunk at a party, and people were like, you got to do something about your friend because he's trying to kiss everybody. And, just woke up and I was like so hungover, and we went to like very normal thing. You're very hungover, go smoke a blunt on like a vista with your friends because it's very natural out there. So you can just drive 5 miles and you're like at the ocean. And so we're like smoking a blunt and I'm like feeling a little bit better. And I'm like, oh, wait, what? No eyebrows. And then they let me think for like 3 hours that the girls had shaved them off because I was like, they deserve to because I was trying to kiss them or something. I was being a jerk. And they had done it to have some fun. They had not blacked out.
Well, that's worse than drawing on someone's face, I would say.
Yeah. You couldn't tell my expressions for a couple weeks. But I don't think there's any other, like, I'm trying to remember if there's any other drinking stories that stick out. I mean, I know I have a lot. I can keep going, but yeah, probably have told enough.
I mean, you've covered, I think, 6 episodes worth of drunk stories.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, amazing.
Yeah, I was such a mess. It's so weird for people now because I'm pretty reserved.
Yeah, it seems like it's like total opposite, I feel like. Or do you guys know each other?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Well, yeah, just knowing everything, because I've known you for like 4 years now?
Yeah, at least.
Yeah, at least. And you're always just kind and patient.
Pretty mellow.
And very mellow.
Yeah.
And when I was like, hey, did you ever drink? And you were like, yeah.
Yeah, I got some tales. I got some stories.
You threw down some yarns, I would say.
Yeah.
What happened with your mom's car?
Totaled.
It was totaled.
Yeah. I think I went back up there like a couple of weeks later to go get like what was ever inside of it. And it was just like a crumpled mess. Oh. It wasn't like crumpled, but it was, it flipped over like 3 or 4 times.
Surely your parents were pissed then.
Yeah, but it wasn't like punitive really. It was like, all right, I think that was between freshman and sophomore year of college. And I was like, all right, I'm going to just go back to Lake Tahoe because I can't have a car. I had like, when you get a DUI, you have to get this thing called SR22, which is you can't drive for like a year. And then when you do drive, your insurance is like $700 a month or something like that. Okay. So I was just like, I'll go down there where you don't need a car and I'll just ski. And then I think actually that was like the first time ever, like in those next couple of weeks, I'd been arrested twice more or something like that. And then that was like one of the ones was the one where I got in the house fight. I forgot what the other one was. But I quit drinking after a girlfriend at that time. My same high school sweetheart was like, I'd gone to visit her. I'd blacked out. I'd created a ruckus at her college. And she was like, you got to stop. Yeah. So I did like 6 months of no drinking. And then that summer I was like, I'm cured. And then,
well, when you're young, you don't know.
I just don't think I could imagine it. Like, I don't think I could have, I was just such an uncomfortable person. I was so self-conscious. Yeah. And I think it really happened like in high school. I was uncomfortable. I was, just intimidated by so many things. And I wasn't like a small kid or anything. I just didn't know myself. And I think some upperclassmen were like, hey, look at this kid. Like, let's get him drunk. And then I had some beer and all of a sudden I was like the life of the party. Yeah. And I was like, this forever. Yeah. And I didn't know how to exist without that. And now it's like I look back at like kids who get sober when they're like 22 and they like write the code that like solves the infinity equation and they go on like Macklemore, who I went to high school with.
You went to high school with Macklemore?
Yeah, he got sober around like 23 and became Macklemore. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm doing fine, but
you're doing great.
I don't have a golf company.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but you don't need one.
No, I don't. I actually don't care about golf.
There you go.
Yeah.
Then you're doing great.
Yeah.
I think you're doing. I mean,
I'm not worried about it, but I mean, like, it just was. It was like a decade of like just unnecessary pain. Yes. Just unnecessary like legal fees, trouble, apologizing. Yeah. So much of that I'm so happy that I got to the place where like, because I I guess the beauty of it was that if it wouldn't have been so extreme, I would have kept doing it.
Yeah.
So I'm so lucky to have that kind of like inability to do it even docilely.
Yeah.
Like, you know, because it's just.
Yeah. And then it's the necessary shame that you feel. And that just really fucks with your self-worth, self-confidence.
That's right. That was the one story that I forgot.
Okay, great. We're going out on one last story.
I was at a house party and I was with that nightmare girlfriend that I would bump and grind with while nobody else was doing anything. And they threw me out of the party because I was too drunk and they also didn't know me. And so I came back with knives. I was like, I know how to befriend people. You bring knives back. And so I get to the house and I just start slashing tires.
No.
I just start going to town. I'm just like, tire.
Oh my God.
And I think also I'd brought friends with me that I had drunkenly been like, these guys tried to fuck me up. And they're like, we got you. And they just punched people randomly. Like, poor people. They just were like, we don't want this drunk kid in our house. Because they were older than me. And then they got punched by my friends. But anyways, I wake up in the morning and my roommate was like, hey, that party that I invited you to, you owe them all tires. And I was like, I got it. Just tell me where to send the money. But the end of that story is that a couple of days later, I'm like walking across the quad at campus, and I'm just walking, and this dude goes, "Yo, tire slasher, what's up?" And I had no idea who he was. So that guy called me tire slasher for the next 3 years. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm happy to be on the other side.
I'm so happy you're on the other side.
Yeah. I haven't brought a knife to any parties.
That's so
then.
good.
Yeah.
If there's a tip from this podcast, just leave the knives at home.
Leave the knives.
And then the first time you walk off a 3-story building,
that's it. Yeah. If you do that, you are Mr. Magoo and you have to stop drinking.
You got to take a hard look at yourself. Well, Andy Haynes, where can people find you?
I am on all the socials at I'm Andy Haynes. You follow me there. And I will be at, is this going to come out?
Within 2 weeks.
Well, if this comes out before the 14th, I'll be at Zanies in Chicago and the 14th, 15th, 16th, and Hilarities the 17th.
Oh, that's
come
great.
Out to those shows.
Yeah, very funny. Everybody go see Andy Haynes.
Please do.
Very funny.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for doing this. This was really fun.
It was really fun. You're a great aid to storytelling because you're such a good laugher.
Well, you got some good. You
never did the thing where you were like, Andy, this is too much.
No, I'll never judge you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Andy Haynes, everybody.
Thanks.